Good evening, everyone. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Supervisor McGlasson?
Here.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Present.
Councilman Ruthven?
Here.
And I understand Councilman Tempora and Councilman Boyd will not be here tonight.
Thank you. Okay, our first item is our Assemblyman Matt Slater is supposed to be here. He is about 12 minutes away, so we will skip over that, and when he gets here, we'll let him speak. So our next item then is the Old Town Hall, our renovation project. We are in receipt from Barton and LaJudas of an estimate to go out for bidding, design development, programming and schematic design phase, hazardous materials study phase. So those are the fee proposals for the project, a total of $78,500. I'm asking that we go forward with this tonight so that we can continue the project.
Maybe we should explain, this is to be funded with American Rescue Plan, ARPA funding. And we had originally gotten estimates, I don't know if you want to comment on this, Chris, for that renovation of the entire town hall that was quite high. And we kind of scaled back the scope of what we're going to try to achieve there. Not put in the elevator. It is possible to put in ADA access on the second floor. And we're thinking in terms of a phase one of reconstructing the downstairs. The footprint of the building wouldn't be changing. And we would be creating the large meeting space, new restrooms, kitchen and pantry. And so this would be a meeting room and also emergency shelter. And that gets the total down under $1 million, estimated for the entire reconstruction. And we have $500,000 allocated by the county, ARPA funds. And we also are working on getting every grant we possibly can to pay for the balance, and I'll have more to say about that later this evening. But to move forward with those grant proposals, we need to go ahead and authorize the design phase and also get an updated sketch. Does that cover it?
We good?
Mm-hmm. Any public comment?
So tonight, if you approve that for the ARPA money will be used. And if it comes in too high or above what you thought, do you have to go forward with it? You know, if the bids are going to come in and you're going to find out, this is for the asbestos removal
It's for,
No.
I just
or the
looked
whole
at it.
design? And this is a new design.
And assessment of the asbestos.
And when you say
Potential.
meeting room for,
The meeting room would be used for the seniors.
well, the
or-
seniors aren't going to fit in there if there's 90 of them that go to Doherty Hall in Carmel.
Well, they come here too also, and they meet usually every week, they meet here as well, and they would all fit down there. We can have classes for children down there. I mean, I've held art and craft classes out of my conference room for recreation, so it can be used for, lots of community events.
And the building has been structurally sound, found structurally sound. So
That's
funny.
what we're bringing the engineer.
Yeah, no, it's just funny because years ago it was condemned, when the
It
police
was
department had to be out in trailers, so I was just wondering. Okay, thank you.
Did not know it had been condemned on what
I
grounds.
didn't know it was ever condemned either.
That's why the police cameras were out there.
I thought that was because they outgrew it.
I
Was it condemned?
I don't think it was ever condemned as far as I know.
If I recall, some of the ceiling, it was a garage, and they had put a facade of concrete over it, and some of that fell down, and I think they prematurely got, those mobile units, but.
It was not a structural failure.
Right.
The thing is built like Fort Knox.
Thank you.
You ready? I make a motion to pass a resolution authorizing the acceptance of proposal for professional services, whereas the town of Kent is in receipt of a proposal dated January 31st, 2024 from Barton and LaJudas. The proposal to assist the town of Kent in the preparation and development of contract documents for the phased renovation of the former town hall facility at 770 Route 52 as set forth in the proposal annexed hereto and hereby incorporated by reference. And whereas the services proposed are a professional services that are exempt from bidding requirements under the town procurement policy and New York state law, and whereas the town board believes it is in the best interests of the town to accept the proposal and authorize the consulting services, now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Kent hereby accepts the proposal from Barton and LaJudas and authorizes the services consistent with the proposal, and be it further resolved, the town supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all agreements and other documents necessary to give effect to this resolution, consistent with the terms hereof, all in form satisfactory to the supervisor and the town attorney. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Our next is awarding bids. The first item is for legal. We're going to throw out all of the legal bids that we received for the town.
For the bid.
Yes, but let me just see. I don't have the resolutions. Let me just see if the resolution is. Okay, so let's do that one first then. All right.
Is there any comments on it?
Any comments?
You good?
I'm not sure. Not at this time.
I make a motion to pass a resolution on bids for legal services, whereas the town of Kent duly advertised for proposals for Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 legal services, and whereas in the bid documents, the town reserved the right to reject any and all proposals, and whereas the town board wishes to reject all the proposals for legal services received, and whereas at this time the town board wishes to reappoint Hogan, Rossi, and Ligori to legal services Parts 1 and 2, and Laura Roberts Esquire to provide legal services Part 3. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Kent hereby rejects the Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 legal service proposals and reappoints Hogan, Rossi, and Ligori to provide legal services Part 1 and 2, and Laura Roberts Esquire to provide legal services Part 3. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then we also went out to bid for cleaning of town hall, library, and the police station. We cut back on some cleaning in town hall. Instead of doing 5 days a week in town hall, we're gonna just do 3 and see how that goes. We can save a little money there. And tonight I'm asking that we go with Facilities Maintenance Corporation of Florida. They're not really in Florida.
Holy
They're in
cow.
Wappingers, but. Any comment?
Just waiting for the resolution. I know it's in here
It's a
somewhere.
long ways through here.
I don't have-
I got it. I make a motion to pass a resolution awarding bid for cleaning services, whereas the town of Kent duly advertised for proposals for cleaning services for the town hall, Kent Library, Police Department, and Highway Department, and whereas the bids were open and publicly read, and whereas the town wishes to accept the bids submitted by Facilities Maintenance Corporation of Florida for the following monthly fees: Town Hall, $1,820 per month; Kent Library, $1,400 per month; Police Department, $1,280 per month; and Highway Department, $425 per month. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Kent hereby accepts the bid of Facilities Maintenance Corporation of Florida as further detailed above, and be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized and directed to execute any agreements in connection with the above. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Richie, do you want to do your bids now, or do you want me to wait till we get down to highway?
The only other thing I have is advertising, right?
Yeah, I know, so if you want to go now,
I would appreciate it.
okay.
Got me out of order, I'm never gonna find
Okay,
it.
well, here it is. I don't think it's in there, it's just for, it came in late. It's for bids that Richie opened the other day for, what was it? I'll let you explain it.
Two bids, I rebid them from December because one was for our tree contract. There was several bids where the salaries they were giving were way below what the prevailing wage, the state requirements for those positions were, and there's no way a legitimate contractor could have been paying those salaries. So we went out to rebid with that, and we also, Nancy also put on our contract, we have to show proof that you own your equipment that we're requiring you to have. Because the last storm in July, I found out from the highway superintendent's meeting that a lot of these guys, they didn't own a lot of the specialized equipment, they had to go rent it. Now, if you have a major storm, the towns are trying to rent it, everyone's trying to rent this one special, and you don't have it. And when you gotta do an emergency cleanup, that's really unacceptable. So that's the one thing, and then we did not receive any bids for the tub grinding at the landfill. So we had to put that out to bid and call certain people. And we had 2 bids for that. One was about 33% higher than the other. And the tree bid, there were 4 applicants. And the one that I chose is, I marked out, I marked out how he won the bid. And that's it, right, Nancy?
We good?
We don't have a resolution. So I
Make
don't
it up
know.
as we go, just tell me who won it.
Okay, so,
This is
Tree
tree
work?
work, and this is tub grinding? Yeah. Zipkin and RTI, the 2 winners?
RTI and Zipkin, yes.
All right. I make a motion to approve the bids submitted by the highway superintendent for, we got a dollar amount? That's the tub grinder.
yep, next one.
For tree work in the amount of, there's no total
So
on
this is it, per man, per day, 3 men.
there. 3 man per day with bucket truck, $2,800. That's the hourly rates? Oh, I'm not reading all that.
Those are dollars. The base cost is 3 men with a 75-foot bucket truck, and then we have specialized equipment listed individually. Like, if we have an easement job to do, to take a tree down,
All right, we're just
The
gonna,
pipes might not have
I'm
been
not gonna
changed.
go through all the
This is
different
like
per
this
hours and
as- this is an
everything.
as-needed thing. It's not one
It's an
specific project.
on-call bid then. So
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the on-call bid for tree services put out by the highway superintendent, awarded to Barney Zipkin Tree Services. And I make a motion for stump grinder, which is there a dollar amount on that one? Again, it's a per day,
It's RTI per
yeah.
day.
Awarded to RTI Industries LLC. All
Second.
right?
All in favor?
Aye.
thank you. And then next one to flip down was the MEO. I
Yes.
get permission to advertise.
Yeah, I do want to, should we just do that one now too, if you have that? We just want to advertise for MEO, so.
Yeah, I'm going to be losing Dorian McMath at the end of March, and I want to stay ahead of it.
I think I found it. Want me to read that one? I finally found one. Okay, I make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the town clerk to advertise for motor equipment operator in the Town of Kent Highway Department. Whereas the Town of Kent is seeking to fill the position of motor equipment operator, MEO, in the Town of Kent Highway Department, and whereas the Town of Kent wishes to advertise for applications to fill said position following the 5-day internal posting, and whereas the Town Board of the Town of Kent wishes to authorize its town clerk, Yolanda D. Capelli, to advertise for applications for the position of MEO in the Highway Department following the 5-day internal posting, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby authorizes its town clerk, Yolanda D. Capelli, to advertise for applications for the MEO in the Highway Department following the 5-day internal posting. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, good night, Richie.
We're gonna, let's do the municipal repairs and then Assemblyman Slater's here, so.
Okay.
So next item on our agenda is for municipal repairs. We have had Matt Kiernan with us for a few months, and he's been as lead mechanic. And tonight I'm asking that we promote him to chief mechanic too. He's been running the department. He's gotten everything up to speed. He's really doing a great job. I check in with Richie since Richie's down there and sees every day firsthand exactly what's going on. But I'm asking that we make that change tonight.
Okay.
Any comments? Public?
Counselor, Town of Kent. So Matthew Kiernan will be his own boss in municipal repairs. He answers to the town board.
He answers to me.
To the town
Yes.
supervisor.
So, no, I'm his boss.
Okay, I'm just clarifying that, so in case Kent Recycling needs to have something done, I'll go through Jamie first, and then you'll get in touch with Matthew. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, municipal repairs has always fallen under the town supervisor.
Okay.
So it's going to stay the same as it always was.
Didn't know that. Thank you.
Matt, do you have anything you want to say? Richie, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, from that, I work with the repairs manager very hand in hand. 75% of the work with the highway department. We have a really good young crew down there now. It's really encouraging. And Matt comes from a family of mechanics. What do you have, 3 or 4 uncles? Cousins? He's like the girl from My Cousin Vinny. He's a boy, but he's got all these relatives, and he grew up in the mechanic field. I knew his family for years down in Mahopac, and he does a great job. We've been through one big storm and then the 3 or 4 little ones, and he's calm and cool, and he knows his stuff. And the good thing about these young guys is they know about the electronics and the emissions, and that's a lot nowadays. It's you know, it really rules the mechanic shop. So, you know, I've observed him, and he knows what he's doing. And we actually, last meeting, was it, or 2 meetings, we picked up the diesel mechanic he's also from Hopac, and he's working out great, I think. So he's a great pickup for the town, and you'll be at my wake someday, so. That's all.
All right.
Good?
Are we good? Okay.
Want me to read again?
He's very quiet.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I make a motion to pass a resolution to promote the lead mechanic to chief mechanic 2 from municipal repairs department. Whereas the town board wishes to promote Matt Kiernan from his current position as lead mechanic to chief mechanic 2 of the municipal repairs department. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby authorizes the promotion of Mr. Kiernan from lead mechanic to chief mechanic 2 in the municipal repairs department. And be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Kent hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute any and all documents necessary to give effect to this resolution. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Now our assemblyman is here, Matt Slater. We're going to invite him up to say a few words.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's great to be in the town of Kent. For those who don't know me, I'm Matt Slater, proud to represent the 94th Assembly District, which includes the entire town of Kent. I always appreciate the ability to come to local government. I served as a town supervisor in the town of Yorktown, as I think you all know, for a few years during COVID and before taking office in the 94th Assembly District. And I always think it's important to be able to come and speak directly to our local officials and community about how state government or county government is impacting local government, recognizing all the great work and important work that you all do here out of Town Hall. And so I just wanted to take some time just to provide a quick update on the ongoing budget process and make sure that you all understand here in the community how some of those decisions may or may not impact this great community. And so for those who don't know, New York State's budget is quite large. It's right now proposed to be $235 billion. That's with a B. Supervisor, how large is your budget?
Yeah, not quite that big. Just under that.
So it encompasses an awful lot. But I just wanted to take some time just to tick through some of the things that I think would directly impact your operations and the community as a whole. Starting with, let's start with public schools. Now, the good news is that it doesn't impact the Carmel School District. But the governor has proposed a budget that would cut funding to 50% of the public schools in New York State, specifically with regards to something called foundation aid. I don't want to get too far into it because, again, it doesn't impact the town of Kent or the Carmel Central School District, which is great news. But I do think that people are starting to hear about it more and more because there's been some advertising and some advocacy in this particular item. And so I just want to reassure everyone because, again, I have the school aid runs right here, but Carmel, again, is not going to see a negative increase. In fact, Carmel overall will see, as proposed by the governor, and this may still change, to see a total increase of $1.2 million for in state aid for the Carmel School District. So important to know that. But let's talk about local road funding. We have our highway superintendent here, and he can tell you the importance of CHIPS in our community. Unfortunately, and I sit on the Transportation Committee, I requested to be on the Transportation Committee, understanding and recognizing the importance of the transportation system here in our region in the Hudson Valley, and also making sure that we had a strong voice advocating for local roads, because as our highway superintendents will tell you, local roads matter. And I think we all recognize that and know that. Right now, as the budget is proposed by the governor, there would be $100 million cut from the state's budget when it comes to local road funding. And of that, $60 million is specifically in CHIPS funding. This is unacceptable, patently unacceptable. And we know that the cost of construction, and I don't have to tell you folks this since you deal with it every single day, continues to rise. In fact, some studies show that highway construction costs have increased by nearly 58% over the last 3 years. And so to see a decrease in state investment in our local roads obviously is going to impact not just the operation, but potentially local property taxpayers. And that's something that we simply cannot have. And so on Friday, I was joined by about 25 different highway superintendents from across the Hudson Valley in the village of Fishkill, because we want to make sure that we are educating the public and also our elected officials about the proposal that we're currently looking at in regards to the 24-25 budget. We are actually calling not only for a restoration of the $60 million, but we want to see an increase of an additional $200 million in local road investments. There is infrastructure money that we expect to start to see flow from the federal government. However, I think it's important to note, and this was something that I didn't know either until earlier this year, that nearly 90% of local roads would not qualify and will not qualify for those dollars. And so for those who may say, oh, well, you're going to get money coming in from DC, yes, New York stands to receive a lot of money, billions of dollars in infrastructure specifically, but 90% of our roads, local roads, will not qualify for any of those dollars, which makes that CHIPS program and the state's investment that much more important. Now, the good news is, for the town of Kent, something that we're able to celebrate, we did get the first half of Route 52 paved in a collective effort, myself and Senator Harcum. And I'm happy to also share that the DOT has added the second half of that project to their 2025 capital budget. Now, it takes a year, unfortunately, in the state of New York and a project of that size to properly bid it out and go through the letting process. And so while I'd love to be able to say that you're going to see the second half of 52 paved this spring or this summer, just the process itself is not going to allow that to happen. But we do have it on the list, the capital improvement list, to be completed, slated for 2025.
We'll take it.
And so that is great news. Yeah, thank you. And, you know, it's great when we get to work in a bipartisan fashion to accomplish these important things. And you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank my partner who represents the town of Kent and Senator Harcum for his efforts in that as well. But those are things that we have to continue to push, is the investment of state dollars. And so, you know, anything that the town and the town board may be willing to do regarding the cut in CHIPS would be welcomed. I know that the highway superintendents and Superintendent Oppenheimer joined me in Albany last year. I hope you're planning on taking the ride up again this year. March 6th. We will have quite a contingency of highway superintendents from all over the state of New York to rally in support of restoring the $60 million cut, but also increasing the state's investment in our local roads. And so, again, anything from the local level to reinforce the importance of that would, of course, be welcomed. Also, in the budget that I just wanted to point out, in the governor's proposed budget, which we are still examining, is a state decrease in veterans funding. Now, we saw this happen last year, and the veterans funding would actually directly impact Putnam County because of the programming that they offer. There was and continues to be good funding for the Dwyer program, which is critically important. It's a Dwyer peer-to-peer program. And there's even a slight increase from a COLA standpoint for the staff who run those programs in each county. But the other programs that the state continues to fund and has funded, there is a proposed $2.5 million decrease. We fought this last year here in Putnam County. We succeeded in restoring those funds at the end of the budget process. And I've already spoken with my counterpart, Assemblywoman Kimberly Jean-Pierre, who is the chair of the Veterans Committee. And we are working in a bipartisan fashion to ensure that that happens again. And I've already signed on to several budget letters with her to the governor and to legislative leaders to make sure that we take care of our veterans here in New York State. So just be wary and be mindful of that. Also, for the municipal standpoint, AIM funding is going to, again, being proposed to remain flat. I don't think we've seen an AIM funding increase in a number of years. But at least it wasn't a decrease, because we were grappling with a rather difficult budget this year. For those who don't know, we walked into Albany with a projected $4.5 billion budget deficit, which projected out would be about a $36 billion budget deficit over the next 3 years. So again, it was important that we didn't see a cut in AIM as proposed by the governor. But just a few other items just to tick off of to make sure that you're aware of it. I know Carmel is qualified for the free school meals program that New York State offers, which is great. Something that I've been advocating for since literally the first day I walked into Albany, because if we're not feeding hungry kids, I don't know what we're doing. But there is still a $60 million shortfall in fully funding that program. So that's something that we're looking to advocate for as well. Again, only 2 districts in my assembly district actually qualify for the program as is. So those sit at additional $60 million, which would apply statewide, but would also ensure every school district, every public school district in the state gets to take advantage of the program, which is really important for our kids. I do want to touch on migrant funding. We all know about the issue going on when it comes to the migrant crisis. The governor has proposed a $2.4 billion allotment that would be given to New York City to manage the ongoing migrant crisis. The mayor of New York City testified about 2 weeks ago to the legislature, and he had requested an additional $500 million on top of that for a total of 2.9. This continues to be a very serious issue, one that I think continues to raise a number of alarms. We just unfortunately saw another incident just yesterday of more police officers being assaulted when they were trying to make an arrest at one of the migrant shelters. And so it's something that I know that I hear a lot from our constituents about. They're very concerned about it. And the $2.4 billion, when you're cutting education funding, when you're cutting veterans funding, when you're cutting investments in local roads, I think it makes it a very hard pill to swallow. And so we're hopeful that we can come back to the negotiating table on that point as well. I did get briefed earlier today from our Ways and Means staff that they are forecasting, which is already underway, and they are expecting revenue overall for the state to come in higher than the governor had anticipated in her budget. That's actually a good thing, because it means the economy is showing good signs. I know that we continue to deal with an affordability crisis here in the Hudson Valley specifically, but that's going to help us plug a lot of these holes as we go through the budget process, which is due at the end of March. I just wanted to point out 2 more things if I could. One of the things I know specifically that we've had conversations about has to do with some of the environmental projects here in the town of Kent. And I was on the phone with DEC just today, and the Environmental Bond Act money is going to start to flow later this year. And so I really just want to encourage the town board and your staff to make sure that they're paying attention to that. Last I heard, again being briefed today, they expect it to be part of the CFA process. And so one of the things specifically that I've been advocating for is dollars to help deal with the harmful algal blooms that are impacting all of our lakes. Every lake community that I represent continues to deal with that, and I know Kent's no exception. So just please be mindful of that and make sure that you and your staff are cognizant of that. Also, I'm sure you do. I know I did when I was a town supervisor, but the state's Grants Gateway program, I'm sure you're monitoring that. Our staff is as well. If you have any questions or concerns about that, please let us know. The last thing budgetarily that I just wanted to touch upon has to do with housing. And I just wanted to, again, make sure that you have the information that I have. And so last year, the governor proposed her housing compact. Housing compact I thought was a grade 1 disaster, which would have taken away local control of zoning in each of our communities. Thankfully, it was completely defeated as part of the budget process. However, in July of 23, the governor of last year, the governor signed an executive order, which was Executive Order 30, and it had to do with creating pro-housing communities. And I just want to brief you on this to make sure that you're aware of it. And the pro-housing community is important from the governor's standpoint, and it's kind of a backdoor way of really moving her agenda forward. But it still impacts each community in a very specific way because it's going to impact your eligibility and access to discretionary funding. And so I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. Our region is in the downstate region. It's always a fun debate that I like to have. Where does upstate and downstate begin? Well, apparently Kent is downstate. And so there are specific criteria that you would have to meet, and each of our communities have to meet. But there is a full process by which to be recognized as a pro-housing community. I can tell you that there are a number of well over a dozen or two funding sources that total about $650 million, that in order to even access those pots of money from the state, you have to be approved by the state as a pro-housing community. And so I'm happy to walk through what that process looks like and what the requirements are with you. Important to know there are about 129 communities statewide who've already sent a letter of intent, and about 20 that have submitted all the required documentation. But I think, from a local government standpoint, obviously, important for you to know that that is something that was not done legislatively. It was done through executive order by the governor, who unilaterally put this program in place. And again, we defeated the housing compact, but I do fear this is just a backdoor into making sure that the Hudson Valley communities adhere to what that policy was intended to do. And with that, I can go on all night talking about different legislative initiatives that we've started as well, but I want to be cognizant of your time, respectful of your time, and I want to see if you have any questions I might be able to answer for you.
Just very quickly, as far as, support from us for the CHIPS money, which is huge to us and Richie, obviously, would it pay for us to authorize the supervisor to write a letter?
I think every little bit helps,
All right.
Without a doubt.
Can your staff get all the numbers and the
Yeah.
information to her, and at our next meeting, we'll authorize a letter to support that?
That'd be very helpful. Absolutely.
Thank you. And the veterans services, everything that, we don't want to see anything cut for our veterans. Right, so,
Yeah, would appreciate that as well. Absolutely.
You don't want to authorize it tonight? I mean, when I get the information?
well, I tried to write it down, but he's talking faster than I talk. And so
What about if?
I want to
sorry.
I want to have it right in the resolution so we can do
I
it
can
in
get
2
you.
weeks.
I can get you all the information you need and I know Highway Superintendent Othmer and I can get you all the information you need
Okay.
when it comes to the impact that could have on the town of Kent, and just reinforcing the importance of investing in local roads, and also fully funding the DOT capital plan would be very helpful as well, because that's where all of our state roads, that's where the dollars from all of our state roads comes from. And so that's something else that we're advocating for. But I can get all that to the supervisor, and a letter of support of those efforts would go a long way.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate
think
that.
also, we're going to want to be able to be competitive for any kind of funding that might be available, so I at least would be very interested in learning about what it takes to submit the documentation for
Yeah.
the pro-housing community.
Yeah, it's a couple of things. The first thing is you have to provide a zoning map to the Division of Housing and Community Renewal. So the municipality would have to provide that to that agency, as well as the zoning code summary. And the other thing that they have to do in order to be certified is to execute a pro-housing community resolution, which there is a model resolution that we can provide that's on the HCR website.
Great.
Like I said, we were very clear last year. We did not want state government to make these decisions on behalf of each municipality. And I think it was a very clear and united message that was delivered by Republicans and Democrats when it came to the governor's housing compact. This, again, to your point, so now they're basically going to starve us, in a sense, to prevent us from getting dollars. until we actually adhere to the policies that they're dictating to us, which I really think is an unfair proposition, because each municipality I represent is very unique and different. And what's good for the town of Kent may not be good for the town of Southeast, or be good for the town of Somers or town of Yorktown, right? And I just think that, you know, you have this one-size-fits-all blanket approach of just growth. All we want is growth. We just want housing growth. That's great, but especially in our region, and you all know this from deliberating over site plan approval all the time, when you're living in the watershed, it poses a whole host of problems. And you can't tell me that just an arbitrary number is going to recognize that. And so I just think that that's where this policy really fails. But at the same time, I think it's important for you to know it, only because, to your point, I don't want to see you not be, you know, able to access dollars because they're going to put up a wall there. So that's something that we can continue to work on, and you know, we can work with you and your board and your staff on that particular issue.
Yeah, I mean, if the town can meet the criteria, obviously, if there are grant programs that would lead to projects that are appropriate for the town, given our constraints, we'd want to go after those.
Of course.
So I'd appreciate that help.
Yeah, no problem. We're happy to follow up with you on that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Richie, I think.
Yeah, quickly, I just want to say a little note.
You
You have to come up to the
nobody can hear
microphone.
you in TV land unless you talk in the microphone.
Assemblyman Slater is a Naval Reserve officer, active Naval Reserve. He drills every month. He goes down for his 2 weeks and more of active duty, and no one really knows it. And as a veteran, I appreciate what he's done for the veterans. He does a lot of work for us, but very quiet about it. But I'm going to let everybody know.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's one of the dark secrets that I have. Not dark secrets, but one of the secrets that I have, right? But you know, that's proud of the service, proud of commitment to the country, and making sure that we're all enjoying our freedoms the way that past generations have fought for them is something that I am very passionate about as well. And but it's because of people like Mr. Othmer, obviously, that we're able to gather in this way in a free country, in a free town, in a free state. And those freedoms are worth preserving and worth protecting for future generations. So, but that's not why we're here tonight. Any other questions I might be able to answer? All right.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. We'll follow up with you. We'll follow up on both accounts. Thank you, everybody.
And thank you again for Route 52. It's huge.
Yes.
Here, here.
All right. Our next item is approving ARPA funds, which have actually already been approved, but we never did the resolution for the library. So tonight, I'm just asking that we approve $7,404 of ARPA. Is that the total?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 7404.
Yes.
The original proposal was this number here, so we have one voucher for what's been spent so far. But what we had voted to allocate on whatever date that was, where nobody
Yes.
can find the documentation, was $46,444.
And I think we need to vote on the $46,444.
Right, because
tonight, that
they
way.
were going to buy computers and things to supplement what they had gotten from Assemblyman Galef, and I guess that hasn't happened yet, but
Yeah.
that's the plan.
Okay, so let's finally get this done with the ARPA funds for the library.
All right, so quick question.
Yes.
The resolution says 7,404.
It should be the
But we
total.
are doing the grand total of 46,444.
The grand total, yeah.
So we're changing that. Okay.
But then we would also need to change the list of purchases here, because part of that was supposed to be technology, computers and things.
Well, I have it all broken out here.
But it doesn't
In
say
the
computers.
resolution, right?
Yeah, it just needs to say computers.
Okay.
You got it in?
Okay. Okay, so I make a motion to adopt a resolution to approve the allocation of American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds for the library. Whereas the American Rescue Plan Act of 2022, ARPA, provided fiscal recovery funds to county governments as well as other forms of government pursuant to U.S. Department of Treasury compliance and reporting guidance for the purpose of alleviating the fiscal stress caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, and the town of Kent has received funding from ARPA. And whereas by resolution dated June 20th, 2023, the town allocated ARPA funds to be used for the Town of Kent Public Library for computers, programs, and other materials to be used to improve the services the library provides to town residents. And whereas the town, oh, I see, so, I'm sorry, this is just this one specific voucher that we're voting on.
I think because it has to go to the county, we need the entire amount.
Okay. So then, and whereas the town is in receipt of a voucher from the library in the amount of $7,404 for the purchase of certain ebooks, audiobooks, laptops, cybersecurity classes, and technical support to be paid out of the allocated funds. Now, therefore, and I guess, and anticipates additional expenditures that will ultimately reach up to $46,444. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of the Town of Kent hereby authorizes the initial payment of $7,404 out of the allocated ARPA funds for the purchases by the library referred to above. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby ratifies and approves any actions previously taken to give effect to this resolution. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, our next item is our EMS program coordinator. Do you want to start by explaining that?
All right. So, I don't even know how far back we go here. Back at the end of the summer, maybe early fall, we were asked to meet with both fire departments over at the Lake Carmel Fire Department regarding ambulance services for the town of Kent. So we went over and met with them twice through the fall, I believe. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And then we've met with him since the new year, at least one more time here. And to make the story very short, it was been kind of a consensus brought that we need to form a Kent Ambulance Corps. The volunteer services from the two fire departments, although great, they're volunteer services, and we're getting a lot of our calls that have to be responded to by outside towns, cutting down on the time for the responses. So we've kind of been working as a team together to come up with this solution. One of the things we want to do tonight is hire a per diem coordinator to do the town side of this, which is a ton of paperwork with the state and billing departments and probably with our attorney, Nancy, with all the legal aspects of it. It's just a lot to undertake and move this thing along rather quickly. We have invited some members of the emergency services up here tonight to kind of talk, and I hope they will come up and give a better description of what I just said, because me and Jamie are not, this isn't our field. We really need the experts to kind of lead and guide us through this and get us to the point where we want to be at in the end. So, gentlemen.
Good evening, I'm Matthew Valenti, the Chief of the Kent Fire Department. So, like the councilman said, we've been looking into forming a EMS service for the town to be consolidated between the two districts. In recent years, we've seen a decrease in the amount of certified EMTs, which is what you need on an ambulance to go out. With that decrease, it's making it hard for us to staff our ambulances, which makes us rely on neighboring towns, Carmel, Putnam Valley, the county, in order to get EMS services to our residents. With that, they have also increased the amount of time it takes for the EMT course to become a certified EMT. So it makes it a little bit more difficult for people to find time out of their personal lives to make that commitment. The district, along with the department, also formed tax breaks along with the town as well. Retirement benefits such as LoSAP, scholarships for people, and obviously free training to encourage that participation. We did see a little bit of an increase, but nothing substantial to be able to staff that ambulance adequately to where it needs it. Currently, our members respond from home, so I know for me personally, it takes about 10 minutes to get to the firehouse from my house. That, going to the house, assessing, going to the hospital, coming back, doing our state paperwork, it takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. If you have to go to a specialty hospital center, you're up to 2.5 hours. Again, that's more time out of people's personal lives, makes it a difficult time for them to be able to dedicate their time to that. We're looking to stay in the EMS service along with our fire department. We're looking to do a EMS first response. We'll take a fire truck there, assist them, start patient care if the ambulance isn't there yet, and then eventually transfer that patient care over to the ambulance who would transport them over to the hospital. I think overall having an ambulance that's staffed 24/7, 365 is overall going to improve the safety for the town residents. Obviously, you'll have someone in the ambulance. They'll be at your house within a couple minutes, depending on where you are. Like I said, where the furthest house, I think, in our district to get to from our firehouse is about 15 minutes. Again, with us coming from home, it takes even a little bit longer. With that, it is going to reduce the burden on our neighboring towns, Carmel, like I said, and overall, let's say, and eventually, like I said, improve the safety of our residents. But that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Can you,
No, this is townwide. So this is going to be the Lake Como Fire District and the Kent Fire District. So it's going to be the western side of Kent and the eastern side of Kent.
could you explain what our neighboring towns have now? And most of them have this already.
Yeah, we're, from what I gather, we're the last town to have a paid service. Town of Carmel has a paid service. They actually just hired Carmel to cover the towns of Mayapack and Mayapack Falls. Carmel Valley has paid staff. Phillipstown has paid staff for the whole western side of Kent. What else we got?
Patterson.
Patterson just is doing what we're planning on doing, a municipal system ran by the town. Brewster actually just reformed a new paid service, so I think this is definitely an improvement and a step in the right direction.
You gotta step up.
Yeah, I got you.
And I appreciate everything you guys do. So you're getting a private ambulance coming in?
No, this is going to be, the town's going to have their own municipal EMS service. So it's
We'll
going to be run by the
bill,
town.
we'll do billing, we'll handle everything in town.
Wow. Any grants for that?
Well, yes, we're going out, we're looking for them.
One thing to remember is that there is insurance, Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement from the ambulance runs now, and hopefully it covers most of it. And then working with the two fire departments, we're gonna be able to get a lot of the equipment to set it up and get things running.
So where is that ambulance going to be stored at? Are
So
you using the ambulances that are already here?
We're still in the process of that. We're in the very beginning stages.
Because I know they just got a new one, so. I
Yes,
was
wait, Carl, yes.
Yeah.
I could
Okay,
talk
go ahead.
about that. I think some of the confusion here, by the way, let me introduce myself. I'm Barry Sinnell. I'm the chairman of the Kent Fire District. So the Kent Fire District is a political subdivision of the town of Kent. We're a taxing entity. I'm just putting some quick statistics out here. We're about 23 square miles, we're 1,545 taxing units, and we cover about 3 miles of the Taconic Parkway, which is fun when it snows. The district was established in 1958, and then the Kent Fire Department was established in 1971 under the district. So it's the department and the district, we're in the same building, but we're the taxing entity. We cover the budget, and our budget right now is just under $500,000. So what happened was the state established a system where fire departments can bill. We don't have the capability to bill. It's a whole amount of work which you're learning. You can hire companies to do that, but at the same time, you know, per the chief's speech, we are having a hard time getting volunteers. You know, the ambulance was established 50 years ago in 1975. So we started out as a fire department, and then we became an ambulance corps, and the ambulance is the majority of what we respond to. Excellent members, but this is something that we've been talking with Jamie and Chris about. How do we team up? How do we create an entity that allows us to provide the excellent service to the people that we serve and make sure that we get out on all ambulance calls? And right now it is very challenging, per he said. I'm a former EMT myself, and we'd go out to every call is like a 3-hour call, especially if we have to go to Westchester. So it's very challenging for volunteers to do this. So I'm looking forward to working with the town of Kent and coming up with a solution that allows us to provide the excellent service. Does that help answer some of your questions?
Thank you.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Much better than we could do.
All right, we're looking forward to working together on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's what's key here, that we all are working together for the residents' benefit. So,
Yes.
All right.
Anybody else like to comment on it? All right,
Okay. Do you have the,
I don't know what I did with my papers.
do you have,
Yeah,
Dan
I've got
has it.
Okay, I make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing hiring of Emergency Medical Services Coordinator. Whereas the town of Kent is seeking to fill the position of Emergency Medical Service Coordinator, and whereas per the email dated February 15th, 2024, from Claudia Dvorak, Confidential Secretary to the Supervisor, following discussions with the Putnam County Emergency Personnel Department, the town is recommending hiring Alex Rower as Emergency Medical Service Coordinator. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby authorizes the hiring of Alex Rower as Emergency Medical Service Coordinator at a rate of $37 per hour, effective as of February 22nd, 2024. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby authorizes the Supervisor to execute any and all documents necessary to give effect to this resolution. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I hope I didn't mispronounce the name.
You would know better.
Rower?
Oh, yeah.
Rower.
I'm asking him. Does he know? You don't know.
Yeah, Rower.
Oh, okay. All right. moving on.
Rower. I don't know. Close enough.
Okay. Moving on, we have, we received a letter from a resident and then also from our assessor about purchasing some parcels. Mr. Windy is asking to buy a parcel on Montrose identified as tax lot 33.35-2-51. Our assessor, Seth Klowski, thinks that $2,500 is a reasonable amount, provided that a condition of sale would be that the parcel is merged onto his adjacent lot, and in the fact that the size relative to current zoning and given to topography and lack of drainage would make for limited markability. So, I'm asking tonight that we approve the sale of that lot. One lot. Yes. You can't,
How big is it? Because I couldn't tell the numbers on your backup, if you didn't have the proper numbers.
I know we've seen it.
I don't know, it's very small, it's not buildable on its own.
Putting it next to,
Yeah.
And then,
This
did we
is,
have-
this is a good thing. I
That's
wish
still
we-
being fleshed out, the other.
Okay.
I wish we could, when I look at the map, and I've asked our tax assessor for it, of all the parcels that the town ended up with over the years up in Lake Carmel, it's kind of amazing. I wish that we could market them to all the adjoining neighbors, and love the fact that they're going to require it to be adjoined to the tax parcel so that it's there forever, and, you know,
the county used to have the land swept, once a year, they would have a sale. and they would
you're,
sell it.
nobody can hear what you're saying. I'm really sure. I get complaints about it at ShopRite every time I go back after a meeting.
The county used to have a sale,
Yes.
whatever properties were located around that one parcel, they would have a sale, and you would put a bid in for it,
For the properties
for
the
the
county
properties.
owns?
Yeah, they still.
Well, they were town properties.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, because
How
they
could
would
they
be
do
back
that?
from the taxes. They wouldn't be paying, so then.
foreclosed
Foreclosed
properties.
but
Gotcha.
empty lots.
So they're foreclosure properties, and they still do to some extent. The county got into a process first now where they offer them through a real estate agent, and if the real estate agent can't sell it, they still, that's the old saying, sold on the courthouse steps.
Okay.
That's what and then, but this is a little different. These are town-owned parcels and probably have been since Lake Carmel, since the Schmadback brothers developed it, and whatever was left over, there's these little parcels all over Lake Carmel that were never sold, and they
Some
just
of them
became.
are paper roads.
Yeah, and paper roads, but there's a lot of parcels that were never sold, and they're just towns sitting on them
Right,
for no
and
reason.
we have sold the parcels. People have come
Yeah,
just like these
And this is an
people.
example of that. I
You know,
think
and
we
then
should
I.
encourage it. It's great to
Right.
get these things onto the tax rolls.
Right, and
Maybe
the-
we could put together some sort of a program to do that.
We
And there
should,
were
we should reach out to
restrictions.
the adjoining neighbors somehow.
Right, it was calling all the neighbors so that everybody had a chance to like bid on it or whatever. And I know people that came, when I was here, they came and did it.
So that's
And there were
something we should-
restrictions, and that's what I think I sent it to you.
That's something we should work forward, moving forward, is getting all those rounded up and making those letters go out, because the more we get onto the tax rolls, the better it is for
Right.
Lake Carmel and everybody else.
But they did have restrictions as far as, you couldn't put an addition on, you could put a septic, you could extend your septic. If you look under Michael Rose, that, he bought it, I remember that name, but there were other people too. But if you look, I did find it under Michael Rose, and there were restrictions to the properties.
Okay.
And
So,
we have had other inquiries about this. We just kind of got to get our process. We've
Right.
had other.
We take it as like a one at a
Yeah, we
time.
should just kind of make a jump at this and try to do as many as we can all at once.
right, and be consistent about what you're
Yeah.
charging.
You good, Ann?
Want me to,
All right, I'm just asking, you got any comments on it?
no, it's good.
All right. Oh, this is a long one. You sure you don't want? I'll read it. I make a motion to pass a resolution authorizing the sale of unneeded town property. Whereas the town of Kent is the owner of a parcel of vacant land adjacent to Montrose Drive in Kent, New York, as more fully set forth in the annexed METS. I don't even know what that word, meets? Oh, meets and bounds. I know what, I didn't know how you spelled it. Meets and bounds description hereinafter referred to as the property, and whereas Mr. Xavier Quind
That works.
and Miss Olivia Moracho own the parcel at 4 Montrose Drive, which adjoins the property, and Mr. Quindy and Mrs. Moracho wish to purchase the property, and whereas pursuant to Town Law 64, subsection 2, the town board is authorized to sell real property at private sale pursuant to resolution which is subject to a permissive referendum, and provided the property is unneeded for town purposes and an adequate consideration is received, and whereas the property is currently not being used for any public purpose and there is no future use contemplated for that portion of the property, and it is therefore unnecessary for town purposes, and whereas Mr. Quindy and Miss Moracho have offered to pay the town the sum of $2,500 in exchange for the property, and the town assessor has advised that this is a reasonable offer for the property. Now therefore be resolved, the town board finds the property is currently not being used for any public purpose, and there is no future use contemplated for that portion of the property, and it is therefore unnecessary for town purposes, and it is of no value to anyone other than Mr. Quindy and Miss Moracho, and be it further resolved, the town board agrees to sell the property to Mr. Quindy and Miss Moracho for the sum of $2,500, subject to permissive referendum on the condition that the property be merged with the adjoining lot owned by Mr. Quindy and Miss Moracho. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. For recreation, we would like to start advertising for seasonal park maintenance workers because it seems like every year it's getting harder and harder to find seasonal workers. So we're hoping by starting early that maybe we'll find them. I don't know.
It's a good idea.
So-
Kids are going to be coming home from college soon. Good to get the advertisements out there.
No, it is, so. I asked tonight that we just go out to advertise.
Okay. You want to take this one in?
Okay. I make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the town clerk to advertise for seasonal park maintenance workers for the Recreation and Parks Department. Whereas the town of Kent is seeking to fill the positions of seasonal park maintenance workers for the Recreation and Parks Department, and whereas the town of Kent wishes to advertise for applications to fill said positions, and therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby authorizes its town clerk, Yolanda D. Capelli, to advertise for applications for seasonal park maintenance worker positions for the Recreation and Parks Department. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The Lake Tibet Park Association is asking us to approve their hydro raking to New England Aquatics for spending up to $35,000.
I don't think me and Ann should vote yes on this. They only addressed it to you, Jorma, and Sean.
I guess they're out of luck tonight.
All right. Any comments on that?
They're their own association, they have their own money, so,
They're a park district.
yeah, so.
All
I
make-
don't think there's any members here.
I make a resolution accepting proposal for Lake Tibet hydro raking. Whereas the town board of the town of Kent has advised there is a need for hydro raking of Lake Tibet, Park District Number 2, and whereas in accordance with the town's procurement policy, the town requested 4 proposals from companies which provide this specialized service and received 1 proposal, a copy of which is annexed hereto and incorporated herein by reference. And whereas the town received 2 proposals in response in the request, and whereas by email dated February 2nd, 2024, the Lake Tibet Park Association has recommended that the town accept the proposal of New England Aquatics as it represents the best value since multiple vehicles will be used for the extraction and removal. And whereas the town board of the town of Kent wishes to accept the recommendation of the Lake Tibet Park Association and the proposal submitted by New England Aquatics, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby approves hydro raking of Lake Tibet by New England Aquatics for the price set forth on the proposal annexed hereto in an amount up to $35,000, and be it further resolved the town supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all agreements and other documents necessary to give effect to this resolution. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we want to add the reassessment right now for the ARPA funds before you go into
Sure.
the grants? Is that okay?
Let's
All
go
right.
for it.
I make a motion to add an item to the agenda for our reassessment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, as everyone knows, we are doing our reassessment in the town, and we had agreed to use ARPA funds towards the reassessment. So we need to approve tonight just the $300,000 to use ARPA funds towards, we need a resolution to use the ARPA funding.
And that's for the 2024 charges?
Payments, yes.
And that's half of the total. So towards the end of the year, we will make a decision on whether to use ARPA for the balance,
remaining.
which is likely to be the case.
You good?
You have to make a resolution.
I make a resolution authorizing the expenditure of $300,000 of ARPA funding for the reassessment. I make this motion.
Second, and this is our town
Town-
funding.
yeah,
This is not the county.
Townwide.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And next, we have our AARP and T-Mobile grants that we would like to go out for. Ann, do you want to explain?
Sure, I'll say a bit about those. So as I mentioned, we're working to find additional funds for the renovation of the old town hall building, at least the ground floor for starters. We've already applied for a $100,000 grant through a private foundation for insulation and new windows, and we should be hearing about that very soon, apparently. We also had put in for funds through CREST funding through the state Senate, Senator Harkin's office, for a heating system, probably heat pump of some kind. And now we have 2 other opportunities before us. One is from AARP, and the other from T-Mobile. The T-Mobile program is called the Hometown Grants Program, and it is designed to fund projects that rebuild, refresh, or build community spaces to foster local connections, and that includes adaptive uses of older and historic buildings into community gathering spaces. So this seems like a very appropriate source of funds. It's a $50,000 grant with no match, and so we have the folks at Millennium working on that one. And then the other one from AARP is, I've lost my documentation here. So it's a community challenge grant program. This one has a tight timeline for the expenditures. We would really have to hustle if we get the funding. There's no specific maximum, although the average grants typically range around $12,000. So we'll have to talk with Millennium about what an appropriate amount is for going after for that one. But the idea would be for T-Mobile, we would be seeking funding to renovate the meeting room and as an emergency shelter and meeting space. And then through AARP, we would be looking for funds towards the new kitchen, renovating the bathrooms, and also the food pantry space on the ground floor. So, any discussion? All right. So I make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the town to apply for AARP and T-Mobile grants. Whereas the town board of the town of Kent wishes to authorize the town supervisor to apply for the AARP and T-Mobile grants. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby authorizes the supervisor to apply for the AARP and T-Mobile grants, and it is further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby authorizes and directs the supervisor to execute any and all other documents necessary to give effect to this resolution. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Oh, here,
No, just so we can follow.
because this also has a little carding on it.
Oh, you have.
I have it already.
He has it.
Okay.
I wrote it down. Are we ready for me?
Yep, sorry, vouchers.
I ask the board to approve the following vouchers on February 20th, 2024 for the 2024 and 2023 vouchers here. I'm going to do the 2024 ones first. Appalachia. I'm not even sure what that is. Appalachia, $91,004.17 for salt. Bill Reynolds Jr. garage doors, $2,175 for a deposit on Ryan's Field garage doors. Semco Water, $2,254.84 for Water District Number 1 in January. GAR Associates, $35,000 contract billing for the reassessment. Goosetown Communications, $24,570 for the semi-annual billing for the radio system. Hudson River Truck and Trailer, $9,095 for a flatbed. Magna 5 MS, $7,547.50 for network services in February. Managed Technologies of New York, $3,857.77 for Tough Book and Cradle for the police. New York State Department of Civil Service, $270,801.89 for health insurance for February. NYSEG, $3,203.64 for electric for highway. Ring Squared, $3,329.36 for telephone services for February. Robert Green Auto and Truck, $5,548.27 for truck parts. Laura Roberts, $3,780 for the prosecutor for January. Thunder Ridge Ski Area, $8,670 for the recreation ski program. Town of Kent PBA, $17,760 for the 2024 Welfare Fund. Verizon Wireless, $2,401.41 for cell phone service for the police, and we're added number 17, Royal Carding, $4,006.78 for the recycling garbage. The remaining are for the 2023 vouchers. Motorola Solutions, $2,395.60 for the repeater for the cell tower. Ring Squared, $3,342.60 for telephone service for August. State Comptroller, $38,277 for Justice Court for December. Town of Kent Municipal Repairs, $4,739.67 for chargebacks for recreation in November. $4,539.51 for chargebacks for the police in October, and $2,145.71 for chargebacks for the police in November. I ask the board to approve as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have two announcements. The first is on Saturday, we have our hockey game at Danbury Ice Arena. The start time is now 6 o'clock, and if you want to buy tickets, you can go to the Recreation Facebook page or the Recreation webpage to buy the tickets. And then I also received an email from the Lake Carmel Fire Department about their open house on Sunday, April 14th from 10 to 1. They will be opening their doors to residents in the community to come learn about the importance of fire safety. They will have tours of the station, the fire apparatuses, and allow visitors to try on firefighter gear. So mark your calendars. And that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. So, I guess this week the kids are home, right?
Yes.
They're out of school. So
Right,
something to do tomorrow, if they're bouncing off the walls, the library is hosting a workshop on making a bird feeder. That's at 11 o'clock tomorrow. They do ask that you register in advance. So that looks like fun. And then there's going to be an eclipse coming up, I think in April. I believe it's a solar eclipse. April 8th is the 2024 solar eclipse. And so the library is hosting some events to kind of segue into that on Monday, February 26th at 4:30. Types of stars. Come join the solar celebration, learn about the different types of stars in the universe. And then that evening at 6 o'clock, something about classification of stars. And then, for those of you who are getting those college acceptances in for your kids, there's a workshop on how to drastically reduce college costs, and that's Saturday, March 9th at 11 a.m. And there's always much more. Please check out the library website. Thank you.
When was that last one again?
March 9th, 11 a.m.
Oh, I'll be there.
Okay. Any public comment?
Town of Kent. Could we go back to letter number F, under number 3? Higher Emergency Medical Services Program Coordinator. I don't think we really got a chance to discuss it. Matt Valenti got up here and, explained about the Kent Cliffs Fire Department. I didn't see the Carmel Fire Department here at all, but, so
They
it's
both
per
knew about, they
diem.
both knew about the meeting.
Excuse me?
They both knew about the meeting
Yeah,
tonight.
okay, I
so-
understand that, but they weren't here to represent themselves tonight. So the per diem, that's per hour? How many hours do you propose or suppose that this person will be working a week?
What did we set up?
No, it's set up to 40, depending on what the workload is as we're setting this up.
Did you say 40?
Up to 40, yeah,
Up to 40 a week?
correct.
Okay, so that's,
Or no,
This is a,
I think we said 37. That's not right, we said 37.
Oh, it's a lunch, is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
37?
we said 37. I'm sorry,
37 to 40.
37, we said 37.
okay. Where will this person be conducting this business? Will it be from home?
No, it will be in town.
Carmel Fire Department?
Nope,
Town-
it will be
town
in
hall
town
right now.
hall.
It'll be in town hall? Okay,
Just to be clear, this is a town employee representing us to get all this work done. So we've hired somebody
Okay, I
to get that,
understand.
working out of town hall.
well, some people work from home.
And then the goal is, at some point, we will have a location for the ambulance corps that the coordinator would work out of. And we've been talking to the fire departments about where that location possibly could be.
Okay. Thank you. I also had another question. I know it's running late, but back in August 2023, with Sunbury Properties LLC, there was a vote taken, and I haven't heard anything much about it since then. I did see Ms. McGlasson in her office mid-December to see if anything was done, and you stated that you did not sign anything yet?
No, and we
Has
haven't
that
heard-
status changed?
No,
We have
No.
we have no,
Simple, okay. Thank you.
I haven't heard anything.
it's not on us.
Any other public comment? Simon? No?
Okay, we're not going into executive session, right? We have nothing?
No?
All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.